Hello again, thanks for joining. Today I've got a Marklin Hamo model to have a look at. It's of a German BR221 diesel locomotive and it's catalogue number 3882. With a lot of older Marklin models, their inner trays seem to go brown and get very brittle, and I think that's what's happened here because there's a lot of things rattling about inside this box. And if I have a look here, you can see that yes, it has all perished and it's all been broken. So I'm hoping the model's going to be okay because it's been posted to me and it's obviously been free to move around inside this packaging. So let me get this open, get rid of all the plastic, and then we'll have a look at the locomotive inside. Well, I guess things could be a lot worse than they actually are. We do have a broken pickup here, and also the couplings at both ends of this locomotive are knackered. We're also missing one of the windows here. It's not in the packaging, I don't know where that's gone. And for some odd reason, this doesn't have any screws holding it together, so it just comes apart, no problem at all. So I think this locomotive has had a bit of a history in the past. I've got to count my blessings, this could be absolutely smashed to bits, but it isn't, so that's quite good. It did come with an instruction sheet specific to this diesel locomotive, and it does list all the parts here in an exploded view, and that might come in handy to order up some spare bits for this model. So I've actually managed to repair this coupling, but the other one is actually snapped, so I'm going to have to replace that one. Well, annoyingly, I don't have a spare coupling in my spares box, and I don't have a couple of bolts that would fit onto this body and hold it to the chassis, so I'm going to have to go to Marklin Spares and try and get these pieces. Anyway, let's have a look at this locomotive in the meantime. So even though this machine has been through the wars, it's still looking pretty good. It's got wire handrails at the front here, nice lights with silver surrounds, and the painting is pretty good as well. It's masked off between the silver, the grey and the maroon, and that's been done pretty well. It's a little bit fuzzy going down here, but it's not too bad. We've got flush fit glazing up here, windscreen wipers moulded into the plastic, and a little black surround as well around the windows, which is really cool. The number and the DB logo is very well printed there too, and we've got these buffers hanging out the front, and they've survived all the damage that's happened, so I'm guessing they must be made of metal. The body and the chassis is both metal pieces as well. Got a little bit of detail in the cab there, not a huge amount because it's pretty flat, but at least they put some piece of plastic in there that you can see through these very clear windows. And looking down the side, we've got some wire handrails here at the door, a bit of silver over the top and number 1. And then these windows here, yes, we're missing one, but this one's still here. It's got this nice silver surround and silver bars, and you can see through to a piece of plastic to represent the engine inside. Nice grille detail as well, and in the middle we've got the numbers which are printed on very clearly again. This one's much easier to see through because we're missing the window, but you can see the plastic for the representation of the engine inside. And at number 2 end we've got again wire handrails, the hatch moulded into the main piece of metal, and at this end it's the same as what we've just seen. Up on top there's a really subtle effect down the middle of this locomotive in a slightly darker grey, and the masking is pretty good. I can see that some of the paint is chipped off here in the corners, but I don't think that was like that in the factory. It's also the same around this grille here. And up top we have some nice rivet detail around the exhausts and some vent detail in the top there. The bogies look pretty good as well, and they have the exposed wheels on this model. This one has got the centre piece though moulded in. This one is obviously the driven one. We've got traction tyres on all 4 wheels, and you can see that the brakes are in line with the wheels treads as well. Nothing at all in the middle, but it looks as though it should have something, but I checked the instructions and the part list doesn't show anything for in here. And this is the pickup bogie, but we're obviously going to have some problems here because it's picking up only from this one here, and then that's not even touching anyway. Well, very simple to get this model apart because it doesn't have any screws in it. We've got 2 bulbs at the front here, and the motor sitting on top of this bogie. And we have what looks like a capacitor possibly, or maybe it's a stay alive in the middle. A little bit of a circuit board here, and some more lights at this end. So fairly simple setup here. I don't think this is going to run on the piece of track because we don't have pickup here, but I can certainly put some power onto this and just see if the motor runs okay. Well, that's good news. It seems that the motor runs fine, and even the lights at both ends work as well. I noticed when you applied power it started to pick up speed slowly. I'm guessing that's maybe what this is, or possibly what the circuit board is doing. Either way, it's a kind of nice feature to have. Underneath here it says Marklin made in West Germany, so I'm wondering whether this is actually older than 1989. It may be, but I think it's a more modern release. Might just be an older moulding there. But obviously the problem's at this end here, where we've just got no pickup from this side. so it's not going to work on a piece of track. So I'm going to have to get some parts, and I'll see you in a minute. Alright, I'm back. Well, it's actually been around about 6 weeks since that last part of the video, and it's not because it took me so long to get these parts. I've just not had the time to be able to do this locomotive in all that time because I've been busy on other stuff. Anyway, what I've got here is a new pickup and a selection of bolts as well. Hopefully one of these will fit. These have actually come from Italy, you might see that down here, but they are genuine Marklin parts, which is quite good. I got these off eBay and they arrived pretty quickly. Anyway, let's get on with this model. First thing I need to do is take off the old pickup which is broken and then replace it with a new one. So let's get going. Well, I hope that would just push in and work, but it isn't. It seems to be shorting out on these little bits of metal here and here. I'm not sure whether this is the correct one for this particular model. I think I can get it to fit though. I'm just going to have to put some insulating material just in here and here. Possibly just a little bit of electrical tape might work. Well, that's good news, it's actually working now, but I did have to faff around with these little pickups for ages to get it to work, and also had to put a little bit of tape there to stop it shorting out. I don't think this is the best setup that Marklin could have done, but I can see how they've compromised having the usual skid under here and how it's been changed from centre stud pickup to two-wheel pickup. Pretty crude, I don't think it's a very good setup. And also either the circuit board or this thing here is making it so that it doesn't start as soon as you want it to. I guess it's a little bit prototypical, but I don't particularly like that feature myself. Anyway, the next step is to see if we can get any of these screws to fit into the body, and we'll also put the couplings back on, so we're almost there now. Well, that's annoying. These are the only screws that fit with the thread, but they're actually too long, so I'm going to have to cut them down. Well, that's great news. It seems to be working fine now. And I think we've managed to pull this loco back from the dead. I'm just going to pop this on the scales so you can see how heavy it weighs. So it comes in at 582 grams. So the Marklin Hamo V221 diesel locomotive. It's been quite interesting to fix this model up, and it's shown some of the limitations that Marklin had at the time when they were trying to make 3-rail operating locomotives into 2-rail ones, and they called them the Hamo range. Since then they've changed things around so that it actually comes under the name of Trix. So all the Marklin locomotives pick up from the centre stud, and the Trix ones are all 2-rail. This is definitely a product of its time, but it's great that it's still going strong. Some of the things I like about this model is that it's got an all-metal body as well as the chassis, so it's quite heavy. You saw that when we weighed it. It's also got lighting as well, and a little bit of a circuit board there with that interesting kind of slow pickup effect. Not something I particularly like, but you might like it, and certainly once it gets going it seems to continue on and on, so it seems to run really well, even though it's only picking up from one bogie. It's got lots of little nice parts to it. I like the little wire handrails on the front and at the doors. And I like it's got an indication of the engine inside this with those plastic parts you can see through the windows. This particular one, I'm still missing the plastic for the window at the side there. No idea how I'm going to get that. It's not a part that Marklin still offer, just can't find it. So I'm probably going to have to butcher another locomotive that's absolutely knackered to get this one complete. But in the meantime, it can actually run fine, and it's ready to do some service on the model railway. So I hope you enjoyed watching me pull this one back from the dead and get it running again. It was quite interesting getting spare parts from Italy, and they're actually made in Germany. Sometimes eBay can be really handy for these kind of things. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around, and in a moment you can watch another video just by clicking the link on screen. Thanks for watching this one though. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.